Hello Aries, I am Ulrich, I am a Lenormand card reader, but today we will use a financial deck for your philosophical financial card reading for the month of March. As always, we will do 4 card readings for your sign, and these are based on the natural elements in your astrological chart, or for some of you on your time of birth. These basic elements are air, earth, water, and fire. Now, the 4 objects that you always see on my table are directly connected to those elements. So you choose or you pick one that you think relates most to your personality, or you choose one you feel most comfortable with. This subject of your choice, it should or it will relate the best to your current situation. However, if the object and the related video does not match your first choice, please check the other videos that are immediately connected in the same session. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. Anyway, the matches represent the fire element, the stone represents the earth element, the aerosol sprayer represents the air element, and the shell represents the water element. So Aries, here we go for your card reading. I just want to add, if you have questions, you can always post them in the comments below. And of course, as soon as I have time, I will answer you. So Aries, here we go for your financial card reading. Hello Aries, and welcome to the Shell or the Water Group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of cycles, that there are certain cycles and circles in life, things that coming back here, and there are also challenges connected to it. And no matter in what stage of life we are, we have to face also certain expenses that we probably did not anticipate. But coming back here to the cycles itself, there are many young parents, for instance, that believe that after the period of childbirth and infancy, which is financially heavy, they believe that they will believe that they are financially will be relieved. But of course, those who have older children already know that they turn into teenagers, and those teenagers, of course, they are involved in sport activities, more expensive clothes, things for school that cost more. Anyway, it will cost much more than you think. And of course, then they come in the next stage, they go in their late teens and or their early 20s. And there are other expenses popping up. So as there is a university, you need to foresee accommodations for them, expensive books here. Anyway, it points that every period of our lives, it has economic challenges. Anyway, this card is then, it wants to relate to savings. And it tells you that these are regular expenses. So it means that even though you have these regular expenses, you need to foresee yourself or make yourself more safe regarding to savings. As you quickly will realize, even those we have those circles, there's always something, a hurdle on our doorstep here, and life is always continuing. So if you have financial insecurity, this card asks you to make the big pictures. If there are certain expenses in your life, you should cut some expenses, because the next card that we are having here is the card of overconsumption. What does this card tell us? Well, it tells us that we live in a world of overconsumptions. We are daily confronted with advertisements here, and sometimes our definition of essential obligations, it's a little bit blurred here. We lose a little bit perspective. This is what we are seeing here. Of course, we have our basic necessities, but here today, these basic necessities have changed. It's very hard for us to live without a smartphone, without a cell phone, without internet access. And for some, if this is possible already, it would be impossible to think that they cannot travel. Although we are confronted now with certain facts that are that as human beings, we have a lot of limitations now that are put upon us from governments who want to get more in control over us. Anyway, we live in this new brave new world now, and here we see we are asked the questions if we have a different point of view than our ancestors. Relating this to consumption, sometimes consumption and overconsumption, it fuels or it blurs our perspective. And the next card that we have later is the card of perspective. So sometimes we are collapsing under unnecessities. We lose track, we lose sight of the very essence of life. Sometimes hyperconsumption and always consuming, it blinds us to happiness. So here we need to think also about our pursuit of happiness, and we need to determine what are our minimum needs, and you need to estimate what is non-essential for you. If you eliminate certain things out of your life, would your life be so much worse? Here, this card tells us that you need to live according to your own personal needs, what you want yourself, and not to what society dictates you or suggests to you. If you do so, your wallet and your mind will be better off. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of reflection, making a certain perspective here. And this card asks us to think about improving our current situation. This card tells us also that you are the one in charge, you are the architect, you are the one who has the abilities for changing your life. If there are certain denials in your life, we should confront these and we should not hope for better days. We should take control over things here. It depends, of course, if you are happy and you want to stay status quo, it's fine also, but this card tells you the opposite. It gives you the advice here that your personal management and the way you handle things financially really can make a difference here. Of course, our life is influenced by unforeseen events. That is also part of it. But anyway, it makes us reflect. This card wants us to reflect. If there are certain conditions in your life that you don't like, maybe you need to make a list what you don't like. We need to list here with this card our present and future fears. We also need to make a list of hopes and, of course, a plan of action. And we need to do this step by step, of course, if we do a plan of action. But anyway, what is important here with this card is that we take a step back. We need to take the bigger picture. We need to look from a distance to ourselves. And the gift of perspective here can give you a different angle. Sometimes we are carried away by life and wonder and consummation. And here we need to see it in a different way. This card tells us not to be passive, but become aware of your situation and think how you can improve your life and your existence. So Aries, this is all for the water group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. If you have interest in work or business card reading, most of us have a job and also or have a business. You can check also, we do these with the classic Lenormand card readings. And we have also the spiritual philosophical card readings, and the three of them, they make like a whole, and you can get a little bit wiser what is to come for you for the coming month. Anyway, Aries, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing, and we see each other next time. Bye-bye, Aries. Thank you. Hello, Aries, and welcome to the Aerosol or the Air group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of cycles or cycles that we come, the cycles of life here. Maybe you yourself are in a certain cycle of life, maybe certain things in your life always pop up. And if this is the case, that you should become aware of that, especially if this is regarding finances here. If certain expenses always pop up and they are not really a part of your budget, you should see that there is a cycle going on. This is the first possibility. The other possibility is about the cycle of life itself. We all have financial challenges, certain financial challenges, and no matter in what stage of life we are, we face certain expenses. And then we need to add also the unforeseen expenses. We need to add also those. But for giving an example, if you are a young parent, for instance, probably you presume that after the period of childbirth and infancy, which is a very heavy period financially, you will be financially relieved and things are over. But of course, as you get further in the process, you will see that they become teenagers, and then you get confronted with sports activities, clothes related to those activities. Also, they have different needs, and there's a lot of things that will be coming to you. Then they go in their late 10s, in their early 20s, and you think, well, finally, I'm relieved. But then, of course, university is calling, and you're faced with accommodations. So it means that every period of life regarding, if I give the example of children here, it has economic challenges also related to our house. If we have a new house, for the first 20 years, we have very few expenses, but after 20 years, it's the plumbing, it's the roof. So these are also economic challenges, but these are things we can foresee. Anyway, this card tells us that these are cycling expenses here, and they come back here. This is what we are seeing here. If there is certain financial unclarity in your life, this card tells us you should check it out. Maybe there are some changes who need to be made in your life, because as we know, as we saw in the cycles, there's always another hurdle instead of on our doorstep here. So if there is financial unclarity in your life, or you can improve yourself financially with small amounts of money, you should work towards it. And how we can work to it? Well, maybe the next card is related to it, or it is. We all have small payments in our housekeeping. There are the regular expenses, the monthly payments, as there are telephone bills, internet, insurances, magazine subscriptions. We all, most of them have them. These are recurrent, they are systematic, and very few of us pay attention to them. But this card tells us that it might be important, because this card tells us that a large proportion of people don't even notice when these regular expenses increase, even if it's a lot. Here we see that you should check if your monthly expenses did not change, because this card is about that. For instance, if we signed in during a promo, these promos are mostly time limited, and mostly you go in a certain promo, but after 2 years or 3 years, this ends. Sometimes it's 1 year. And here we see that we need to pay attention to that, especially to time limit offers. Why? Well, you as an informed consumer, in most countries over the world, it's like that. If you are in a promo system, you go out of the promo system and you want to stay with the same company, they put you in a different system, the regular system. This is in most cases much more expensive than the promos that you signed in for. Most people don't notice this. They are happy what they have, but mostly it costs us a lot more. So this card tells us to double check that and see if you're happy with what you're paying. If you see that you're unhappy, call your internet company for existence and see if you can get new advantages, or they can place you back in certain discount systems. This can also be about your insurances. If it's a long time you checked out about your insurance portfolio and you don't know about insurances, double check your insurance, because maybe something is changed there. If you don't know about insurance, just seek advice of a broker here. This is possible also. Sometimes also it's about banking. This can also be about your bank. How is your bank related to what? Well, we live in times that are changing. Our expenses changing. So it means also banks evolve. And a lot of people already work for a big deal online, or for certain things online. But this card tells you maybe you should work or go for internet banking the whole way. Why? Well, internet banks tend to be very cheap. Why is that? Well, they have no physical locations, and also if they have no physical locations, they have no staff, meaning they are cheap. Yes, I hear you thinking, and then you think, yeah, but is this whole thing safe? Well, if you do a little bit of police work and you investigate a little bit, you will see probably that your bank, your own bank, they have also 100% internet banking, probably under a different name, but they do internet banking. If not, you just check it out and you can choose for a solid internet bank. You will have much less expenses, and don't be surprised, you will not have to be a magician for saving $1,000 to $2,000 or euro a year. This is just basic, because if you calculate everything, every time you withdraw money, you pay. So there's a lot of small expenses. So double check here if you cannot make some adjustments here and adjustments to the time. Anyway, if you calculate everything, what this costs you each month, it will make a big amount, all these small payments. So here, these amounts, you can better, you see the pig here next to you, you can better save them for yourself. It's better that you upgrade your house, you put a new porch, that the bank opens a new branch with your money. or a part of your money. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of love. What does this card has to do with financial? Well, it tells us that the people close to us, we love them dearly. They love us, our children, our friends. We are close to them. We show them affection. And of course, we spoil them. This is the card that you spoil your loved ones. We give them an amount of money there, some present here, a dinner at restaurants. All we do this, of course, for expressing our feelings towards these people. Also, if something is coming up like a birthday or Valentine or Eastern, we search for the rare pearl that will make their eyes shine once more. But this card wants to remind you that love cannot be bought. Rather than shopping around in a mall how to please your loved ones, actually you can give them the most expensive gift of all, and it costs you nothing. And what is that gift? That is the gift of time. Why is this expensive? Well, most of us have no more time. But this card tells you that the best memories in general that we collect and that we carry with us are related to time we spent with our loved ones, anecdotes, activities with the loved ones, and they don't come from objects or presents or dinners. This is what we see here with this card. So this card tells you to be gentle with yourself and see the positive impact that will come from it, not only financially, but it also will deepen out the relationship that you have with your loved ones. So Aries, this is all for the air group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this philosophical financial card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. We do also work and business card readings. Most of us have a job or have a business. So if you want additional information regarding that, you can check also. We do these with classic Lenormand card readings. And of course, we have also the spiritual philosophical card readings. They give you more a spiritual guiding point of view over your life. Anyway, if you put the three together, you get a little bit wiser, and this is the attention, of course, of the card reading. Anyway, Aries, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing, and we see each other next time. Bye-bye, Aries. Thank you. Hello Aries, and welcome to the Stone or the Earth group for your philosophical financial card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the heavy card of the deck here. What does this card tells us? Well, this is not a very positive card. It's a heavy card. It tells us probably that your financial situation torments you. Sometimes it means we cannot sleep anymore at night. We wake up in the middle of the night. There are certain deficits here that we have. And for some people, it will mean they have reached a point of no return. For instance, if you have your own business, it could mean here with this card that you should or could consider a bankruptcy specialist. But before you start that, especially sign any form of agreement, you should inform yourself wisely and consult more than a professional. You should evaluate the choices that are offered to you, their advantages and especially their disadvantages, and make sure that you understand that this impact will have of this process will have on you personally. Probably with if you take such a decision, this will come with consequences, and these consequences probably are like that you need to have a change of consumption habits of your lifestyle in general. If you are a private person and you are in severe financial problems, maybe in your area or in the area where you live, you could consult a social assistant. Mostly in your community, there is one available a few times a week. And these people in general can help you if you are in a difficult financial situation. Excuse me, they can help you to make up a certain plan for getting out of your difficulties. So you should inform in your community. I'm sure somebody is there with you, close to you, who can help you, that belongs to the community. This is what this card tells us also. Anyway, if you both groups here did not reach that point, this is the final stop goal. Here, this card tells you if you have financial worries and you don't modify your behavior, it's possible that you hit your head against the wall. So this card is the heavy card, so be careful with that and adjust your tendencies here, adjust the way you spend money and be careful. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of the irregularities of life. We need to prepare ourselves sometimes for maybe for the bad things that are about to come. And no matter in what area of life where we are, there will always be rainy days and storms. Even if we are financially secure, these moments are there. And of course, it's unrealistic to think that we don't need to prepare ourselves for certain irregularities. And this card tells you, it's a little bit hard, the combination here, but it's like this card asks you more questions. Here, it asks you if you have a rescue plan. Do you still have a safety cushion? Did you foresee this situation, this unpredictable situation? And this card is really a hard card in context with the other one. And they ask you if there is a form of preparation. Can you still establish yourself? This is what we are seeing here. If you see that this whole thing has become unstable here, we need to make serious changes in our life. It's closely connected to the other cards. Also, it tells you if you spend everything you earn, you should review that. We should go to a more stable situation in our life and look forward to a different different way of spending money. The next card that we see here, it means that our loved ones, the people who are close to us, they love us dearly, and you love them dearly. And probably something is coming up for your family, that some expenses needed to be made. But of course, if we are in a difficult financial situation, sometimes this is difficult to do so. Maybe you had planned for a dinner at restaurant, maybe you had planned certain gifts, and maybe this is difficult now to do. Maybe you are not able here to go to the mall and make some expenses. But this card tells us that real love, it cannot be bought. So here, you should review your point of view, and actually you can give them the most precious gift of all. And it costs you nothing at all. And this card tells us to spend some time with our loved ones. Time is the most expensive gift in our current society. And this card asks you, instead of giving gifts, give the people that you like and love in your life, give them some of your time. The best memories that we carry in our life are those related to anecdotes, funny activities that we did with loved ones. And it don't come from objects or toys or gifts. It's not there. So be gentle with yourself, this card tells you, and see the positive insight that it will have. It will deepen out the relationship with your loved ones, which is the intention of this card. So Aries, this is all for the Stone Group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit at all, please check the other three that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the four fit you. If you have interest in work or business card readings, we do those also. They are oriented and work on business, and you can find them. I do these with the Lenormand cards, the classic Lenormand cards. We do also spiritual, philosophical card readings. It's like a guiding path that is worked out for you. So you can check the three of them. They make like a whole, and you can get more information, maybe what is the best path for you to go, or how to maneuver in the situations. Anyway, Aries, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing, and I'm sure we see each other next time. Bye-bye, Aries, and thank you. Hello, Aries, and welcome to the matches or the fire group for your philosophical financial card reading. As the first card here that we see here for you, this is the card of food. What has this got to do with our finances? Well, it tells us here that we live in a hectic world. We work a lot, probably. This means you make a lot of hours here. And probably this card tells us that you buy a lot of takeout foods. We order out a lot. We go a lot in restaurants. This is what we are seeing here. This card tells us, instead of maintaining that process, you should make some changes here. And here we are asked to start cooking again. If you cooked a lot before, and because of you have time deficits here now, you should make some adjustments in your time schedule. And this card urges us to cook again. If you don't know how to cook, if you're younger, this card tells us also to learn the basics. It will come in handy later on, and it will save you a lot of money. Anyway, here nowadays we order out a lot, and this taking out dinners or these menus that already are finished that we can buy in malls. This requires household management, and these expenses have for most people exploded here over the last years. And this card asks you to get your or find your devotion back for your pots and pans. Maybe they are a little bit dusted, but here we are asked here to take a break of the chain of overspending for the coming month and do more home cooking time. We should enjoy here with this card the culinary art. You will eat better, you will feel healthier, and of course you will be financial better off with this card. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of acceptation. What does this card tell us? Well, probably it means that you are very focused on your career. This is what this card means. Sometimes it means that we are looking forward to certain promotions in our life, but nonetheless, whatever your situation is today here, maybe your financial times are not as you want them to be here. And this card tells us that's important now that you manage your budget here. It's imperative to do so here. And sometimes, even though you are expecting a promotion and a pay raise probably connected to it, it's not necessarily will go in the direction that we wanted. But sometimes if we earn more, we spend more also. Anyway, we all can aspire here to the American dream of abundance and wealth. But this card tells us here that money or having a lot of it is not necessarily associated with happiness. I'm aware that we need to cover our basics, but here this is about the pursuit of happiness here. We see here with this card that we need to accept the situation that we have created for ourselves, even though there could be some things that influence our course of life. But nonetheless, here we see that we are the one that are in charge of our financial position. Also, this card wants to remind us that there will always be people that are better off than you, but also the other side, there are people that are worse off than you. There are poorer. Anyway, the bottom line is, for instance, poorer. There is a lot of people living in poorer areas who have difficulties for eating 3 times a day. This is created by the current circumstances in our life due to the health conditions that we are all confronted with, who limit our abilities to be free. Anyway, the bottom line here is no matter what we earn, it's about how we manage our income. Here we must make a clear balance to our income, towards our income and our expenses. Whatever our income, our savings may be, it's our actions here who determine if we are short of money or if we can make some savings. So here this card asks you to improve your daily life with spending within your means. The next card here, it's all about budgeting here, this card. Here we see that this is the card of budgeting, and budgeting, it requires a form of leadership. For some people, budgeting, it's something out of a sci-fi movie. For others, it's logical and they can handle a serene plan. Anyway, here we see first, we need to determine what kind of plan, what kind of person that you are. Are you a budget type or not? If you are a budget type and you are still in certain issues from overspending, we need to work here with this card on our weaknesses. Also, this card I want to add is if we have something foreseen, something big is coming up in our life, like we need to make some changes in our house, or we need to buy something that is expensive. I just give the example of change in our house. We have seen some foreseen something, and probably it means that we are about 10% off, because this is the card that we miscalculated. So if you are planning certain things in your life, you need to add approximately 10%, because this card represents about 10% that we are off budget. So double check if even if your calculation is correct, something will come up here. This is what we are seeing with this card. Anyway, the biggest flaw in general, for coming back to the topic here, for people is that if they manage, they didn't incalculate unexpected expenses. They don't foresee certain shortages. Anyway, here sometimes we know these unforeseen expenses, they happen, they are part of our life here. So try to adjust here, don't be stubborn, try to incalculate that here in your budget. If you have difficulties financially and it's very easy and you don't have an overview because you always pay by credit card, as most of us do, try for a while for paying cash. You will see if you pay cash, you have a better overview because you actually hand the money over to the cashier and you see it disappearing out of your wallet. Sometimes this is an easy trick, it's old fashioned, but sometimes we can limit ourselves more. This is what we are seeing here. Anyway, we need to determine here which method is best for you, and you need to find financial balance. Anyway, Aries, this is all for the fire group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short financial card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit your role, please check the other 3 that are connected here. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. If you have interest in work or business card reading, if you have a job or related to your own business, I do those also, but these are with classic Lenormand card readings and you can check them out. And then we also have the spiritual philosophical card readings. They are more guiding you, and the 3 of these readings, they make like a whole, and you can get a little bit wiser by watching all 3 of them. Anyway, Aries, I want to thank you for your time that you spent on my channel. I thank you for subscribing and see you next time. Bye bye for now.